Selected Poems of Anne Spencer. By Anne Spencer. Mina Lowy. Our Souvenir Ethics to XXXI. Crucifixion of a busybody, longing to interfere so with the intimacies of your insolent isolation. Crucifixion of an illegal ego's eclosion on your equilibrium. Caryatid ophanidia. Crucifixion. Racked arms. Index extremities. In vacuum. To the unbroken fall. XXXI. The moon is cold. Joanne's. Where the Mediterranean degree. XXXI. The prig of passion. To your professorial paucity. Protoplasm was raving mad. Evolving us. Xixiv. Love, the preeminent literature degree. $191, 1917. 389, eclosion, hatching out, as in hatching out of an egg or emerging, like an insect, from a pupus. 391, caryatid, a supporting column sculpted in the form of a draped female figure. Virginia. Couidi cites a line from French critic Rémy de Gourmand's 1858–1915, Women and Language, 1901. The role of women in the work of civilization is so great that it would scarcely be an exaggeration to say that the structure is built on the shoulders of these frail caryatids. 399, Mediterranean, the inland sea surrounded by Europe, the Middle East, and Africa, also the region surrounding the sea. For 04, literature, French, author, man of letters. 15207. Anne Spencer, 1882–1975. Orne Annie Bethel Bannister owned a Virginia plantation of racially diverse parentage. Her father was of African American, white, and Native American heritage, while her mother was the child of a slaveholder and a slave. Spencer herself was carefully prepared for the black middle class. To this complex background was added the political education she received from James Weldon Johnson, whom she first met when he was field secretary for the NAACP in 1918. She had begun writing poetry in 1896. But in the 1920s took on modernist techniques and a more pointed politics, though she addressed women's issues more frequently than racial ones. Many of her poems were about nature, and they were often enigmatic and ironic. Meanwhile she organized the Lynchburg, Virginia, NAACP chapter, and wrote editorials attacking the fiction of white supremacy. Yet she also loved the solitude of her garden and spent much time away from the world in a cabin there. A large quantity of her unpublished work was destroyed after her death. White things. Most things are colorful things, the sky, earth, and sea. Black men are most men, but the white are free. White things are rare things, so rare, so rare. They stole from out a silvered world, somewhere. Finding earth plains fair plains, save greenly grassed. They strewed white feathers of cowardice, as they passed. The golden stars with lances fine. The hills all red and dark and pine. They blanched with their wand of power, and turned the blood in a ruby rose to a poor white poppy flower. They pied a race of black men, and burned them to ashes white. Then, laughing, a young one claimed a skull. For the skull of a black is white, not dull, but a glistening awful thing, made, it seems, for this gal to swing in the face of God with all his might, and swear by the hell that sired him. Man-maker, make white. Anne Spencer. Lady, 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 I saw your face, dark as night withholding a star. The chisel fell, or it might have been. You had borne so long the yoke of men. Lady, lady, I saw your hands. Twisted, awry, like crumpled roots. Bleached poor white in a sudsy tub. Wrinkled and drawn from your rub-a-dub. Lady, lady, I saw your heart. And altered? There in its darksome place were the tongues of flames the ancients knew, where the good God sits to spangle through. God never planted a garden. God never planted a garden. But he placed a keeper there. And the keeper ever raised the ground. And built a city where God cannot walk at the eve of day, nor take the morning air. Dunbar? Ah, how poets sing and die. Make one song and heaven takes it. Have one heart and beauty breaks it. Chatterton, Shelley, Keats and I. Ah, how poets sing and die. 10. Altered, enshrined, placed on an altar. Poem title, Paul Laurence Dunbar, 1872–1906. 4. Chatterton, Shelley, Keats, Thomas Chatterton, 1752–1770, Percy Bysshe Shelley, 1792–1822, and John Keats, 1795–1821, English poets. 1925. N.D. William Carlos Williams, 1883–1963. BZ in Rutherford, New Jersey, a town near the city of Paterson, Williams made the city his home for most of his life. He would mix cosmopolitan experience with a commitment to local American life. His father, of British birth and West Indies upbringing, was a perfume company salesman. His mother, of mixed Spanish, French, Dutch, and Jewish ancestry, was born in Puerto Rico and had studied art in Paris. After 2 years of study in Switzerland and Paris, Williams returned to earn an M.D. at the University of Pennsylvania. From then on, he would maintain a remarkable dual career. One of the most prolific and versatile writers of the period, he was also a full-time doctor serving poor and middle-class patients in northern New Jersey, delivering over 1,000 of their babies in the course of his career. From his medical practice, Williams would draw characters for his fiction and poetry. He would also remain deeply committed to their lives, to their struggles, and to their sustaining humor. His class sympathy helped him understand the relationship between radical artistic innovation and radical politics in the 1920s and 1930s. As a result, for decades he was a fellow traveler on the left, publishing in communist journals, supporting the Spanish Republic, and earning enough of a progressive reputation to be turned down for a position as poetry consultant at the Library of Congress a year after the anti-communist witch hunt started in 1947. Many literary scholars during the McCarthy period of the next decade avoided Williams out of fear of his politics and revulsion at his conversational idiom and working-class commitments. But Williams had been immensely influential for other poets all along, and scholars would finally rediscover him in the 1960s and 1970s. To think of American modernism now without him would be unimaginable. Williams had met Pound and H.D. at Penn. He would later become friends with Moore and Stevens and a number of avant-garde painters based in New York. His first poems were somewhat derivatively romantic, but by 1916 he was writing short lyrics in a decidedly American idiom that drew on several modernist impulses. They remain among his masterpieces. Spring and All, 1923, and The Descent of Winter, 1928, were breakthrough volumes, radical collages of poetry and prose that mix flawless, crafted, and rather minimalist texts with passages of almost automatic writing. These rich books remain infinitely interpretable. A highly poetic prose meditation on American myth, character, and history in The American Grain, 1925, would come from the same time. It is an enterprise of vision and critique that anyone interested in American literature should read. Beginning in the 1930s, Williams would write a number of novels and short stories. In the 1940s, he would begin publishing portions of his book-length poetic epic, Patterson. It was the fulfillment of his impassioned sense of place, of a commitment to American culture that was never merely celebratory but rather the witness of a devoted and attentive critic, a critic seeking a redemptive idiom amid